Magandang araw po muli sa inyo at welcome po sa aking channel. Gusto ko lang pong i-share sa inyo. Ito pong interview ng isang nagngangalang Sarah Ferguson ng 7:30, isa pong programa dyan sa Australia, at kung papaano niya ginawa lahat ng paraan para po mapahiya ang ating Presidenteng Bongbong Marcos. Pero ano bang ginawa ng ating Presidente? Ninisihan lang po siya. Tinawanan lang siya hanggang sa na-trigger itong interviewer na to. Pero dahil alam po ng ating Presidente kung ano ang pakay nito nag-i-interview sa kanya, alam niyo naman tayo mga Pinoy, ang restback natin idadaan natin sa pangisi-ngisi kapag alam natin na yung kumakausap sa atin ay may ibang masamang bala. Etong interviewer na to, gustong-gusto niyang ipahiya ang ating Presidente. Siguro porque siya Australiano at ito ay Pilipino lang, diyan siya nagkakamali. Imbis na mapahiya niya po ang ating Presidente, siya po ang napahiya at nainsulto. At bakit daw siya tinatawanan? Ano daw ba ang nakakatawa sa mga tanong niya? Pero bago po natin mapanood yung interview, good news muna tayo dyan sa Australia. Ano po ba ang mga naging resulta ng biyahe ng ating Presidente sa Australia? Una po dyan, ibinunyag ng Australian think tank na Lowy Institute na isa si President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa most interesting, influential, and closely watched leaders sa Southeast Asia, partikular dahil sa hindi natitinag niyang paninindigan at pagtatanggol sa soberanya ng Pilipinas. Kaya naiinggit itong mga kalaban ni President Bongbong Marcos sunod-sunod ang mga accolades na kanyang natatanggap. At yan ay mula sa mga leaders ng iba't ibang bansa. Yung po bang naging dating leader natin o dating presidente ay naging most influential po ba yan? Naging closely watched po ba siyang Southeast Asian leader? At ano po ba ang naging stand niya dyan sa WPS, yung ating laban sa China? Balita ko halos ibenta niya na ang Pilipinas sa China nung panahon niya. Anyway, sa iba pa pong magandang balita, sabi naman po ng Australian Deputy Prime Minister, ekonomiya ng Pilipinas matatag sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni President Bongbong Marcos. Kaya nga po ito ang pinagtutuunan ng pansin ni President Bongbong dahil kung maganda ang ekonomiya, maraming mamumuhunan, mas gaganda ang mga negosyo at dadami ang trabaho at bababa ang presyo ng mga bilihin. Nagkaroon pa po ng business agreement sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at ng Australia at ito po ay ang pagpapatayo ng 500,000 housing units para sa mga Pilipino. At ang pinakahuli, President Bongbong Marcos secures 86 billion pesos investment deals in Australian visit. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has secured 1.53 billion US dollars or 86 billion pesos investment from 12 business deals signed during the Philippine Business Forum on the sidelines of his participation to the ASEAN-Australia Special Summit in Melbourne. So nakita nyo naman kung paano magtrabaho ang presidente natin. Huwag na po nating pansinin yung mga antay, yung mga wala daw pong nakikitang pagbabago, yung wala daw nakikitang pag-asenso ang Pilipinas, na yung mga pabiyahe-biyahe ng ating presidente ay wala namang kinahihinatnan. Ganyan po talaga ang mga bitter. Ganyan po talaga ang mga antay. Ayaw po kasi nilang mapahiya dahil mulat sa poll, kontra sila kay President Bongbong Marcos. Itong weak leader na sinasabi nila, lalabas pa palang mas malakas pa sa kanilang mga Panginoon. Hindi nila matanggap na President Bongbong Marcos will outdo these former presidents. Sa maiksing panahon ni President Bongbong Marcos, napakadami na po niyang nagawa. Sasabihin ng mga antay, puro pledges lang naman yan Porque hindi sila nagbabasa ng balita, hindi nila alam na marami na po dun sa pledges na yun ang naisakatuparan na. At siyempre, ayaw nilang malalamangan yung kanilang idolo. Hindi nila matatanggap na President Bongbong Marcos will outdo kung ano man ang ginawa ng kanilang idolo. So, wag na po tayong magpaka-stress dito sa mga hindi naniniwala kasi haters will always be haters. Yan po ang papel nila sa buhay. Bayaan na po natin silang galisin sa kanilang mga paniniwala. Well, this is a democracy. Kung yun ang paniniwala nila, fine. Kung pwede nga lang na huwag silang makinabang sa mga magiging resulta ng ginagawa ni President Bongbong Marcos. Pero hindi po ganun Ang presidente natin ay presidente ng buong bansa. Kung ano man pong magagandang resulta ang kanyang aanihin sa kanyang pagtatrabaho, yan po ay para sa lahat ng Pilipino. Anti ka man or pro Marcos. Kasi kahit naman sa Australia nakita niyo yung isang senador ba yun na naglabas pa ng placard habang nagtatalumpati ang ating presidente tungkol sa human rights violations daw na nangyayari sa Pilipinas. O ano nangyari? Sinipa siya palabas ng venue. Hindi po natin maaalis yung ganyang mga kumokontra. Akala mo naman yung bansa nila ay napaka-perpekto, na walang halong korupsyon, na walang nangyayaring katiwalian. Bago nyo tingnan ang dungis sa mukha ng ibang tao, tingnan nyo muna kung ang mukha ninyo ay malinis. So okay, panoorin nga po natin itong interview ng ating presidente sa isang Sarah Ferguson ng 7:30. Isa po itong programa sa Australia. Panoorin po natin ito at kayo na ang humusga.
In relation to the former president, it's clear from the outside that there's been some breakdown in the relationship. I mean, do you intend now to invite the ICC to the Philippines to conduct its investigation more fully into former President Duterte's murderous war on drugs?
No, that would be a political move. And what we are, we do not play politics with jurisdiction and sovereignty. And the position that we've taken is that we do not recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC, and we view it as a threat to sovereignty, simply because the ICC was formed to conduct, to provide justice to areas where there is no judiciary, where there is no court system, where there is no police, where there is no peace and order. And that's not the Philippines. And therefore, I don't think that their investigations or their actions apply to the Philippines.
If it's not the ICC, then who provides justice for the many thousands? I think the number is something like 12 to 30,000 people who were killed in former President Duterte's war on drugs. How do they get justice?
I think we in the Philippines have, as I said, a functioning police force. We have a functioning judiciary, and that it is their responsibility to take care of that. We have made a great deal of progress in that regard, where many policemen have already been removed from service because they've been found to be liable. Their cases have been filed. Many are already in jail.
Do you think it adds up to justice for those people who lost their lives?
Well, what we try to do is to now go back to the families of those and see that perhaps see what we can do to make things right for them. As long as it can be shown, of course, that they were not actually involved in the drug trade. As I said very early on, we're not interested in a small-time addict, for example. The addict, you take them to the hospital, you take them to rehab.
You don't shoot them.
We don't. We said we've taken enforcement as far as we can, and it only gets you so far.
Your father was overthrown by a people's revolution, and you are his only son. How do you resist the impulse to authoritarianism?
I have no impulses to authoritarianism whatsoever. We have a good system going. We are, I think we've learned to. We have a constitution that we have that we have gone by for the last 36 years now. We are hoping to make some changes to it, but. No, I have not felt any tug or temptation to make it a more authoritarian system.
You've been a politician for a very long time. You have a very clear understanding of your country's history, and you obviously revere your father. I've seen you talk about him. Do you also understand the costs of his authoritarian rule to people in the Philippines?
Well, it was a very different sort of authoritarian rule. I think when people think of an authoritarian rule, it was non-participatory. Whereas I think the version that my father tried to promote and actually practiced was very much still with the participation of all stakeholders that were involved. It was just a peace and order situation that really dictated the necessity for the declaration of martial law.
Let me just understand the make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I think Amnesty records that during that period, 70,000 people were imprisoned, 34,000 tortured, and 3,200 people killed are the numbers. And your father, in an interview, admitted that over 50,000 were detained. So I just want to ask you again: do you accept that there was a human cost?
Oh, yes,
to that rule?
There always is. It was war. And with war, the death and destruction is inevitable. But this is a war not declared by the government of the Philippines. This was declared a war. These wars were declared on the government of the Philippines, and both of them were. One was to divide the country, and the other one was to remove the present political system by armed struggle.
There is one series of questions that comes up in relation to your father's time, which is of course the question of corruption, which became wholly associated with the Philippines for a long period of time. I think contemporary court judgments acknowledge the atrocities that were committed, but also the plunder of the country's resources. Why wouldn't you want all of that money back in the hands of the Filipino people?
Well, the narrative.
May I just ask you why that's funny?
Where that?
Why that's funny? I'm asking you a question about the plundering of large sums of money from the Filipino people.
I'm thinking that maintains, that idea maintains, because I take exception to many of the assertions that have been made, and I think we have since the cases were filed, the government fell. Cases were filed against me, my family, the estate, etc. And up to now, we have the assertions that were made, we have shown to be untrue.
Quite a lot of money. I think 5 billion was already recovered. I guess the question is just this: do you not want to see all the money that was taken returned to the people?
Again, we have signed. This family has signed a quitclaim. Signed many quitclaims. Any money that you find is yours. And finish. And everything was taken from us. We were taken to Hawaii. Everything was taken from us. We had nothing left.
Not the view of the Presidential Commission.
I'm sorry?
Not the view of the Presidential Commission. This is my final question on this topic.
Which Presidential Commission?
In the Philippines. Their view is there's a large amount of money outstanding.
I think that having seen the facts, as they have been slowly revealed, with further true investigation, not propaganda, but actual true investigation, like court cases and investigations by all kinds of NGOs, different agencies. Since that has changed, and people can see that it was propaganda.
I suppose the question is, other countries in the region, including Australia, want to know that the Philippines, and you in particular, as a Marcos, have come to terms with your family's history.
There was a time where the issue was Marcos. That's not the case anymore. And that's why I think the best proof of that is my election.
President Marcos, thank you very much indeed for speaking to 730.
Thank you.
So yan, ano sa tingin ninyo? Nakuha ba niyang ipahiya ang ating Presidente Bongbong Marcos o siya ang tumiklop at napahiya? Imagine niyo na lang kung iba ang nanalo at naupo dyan bilang presidente. At imagine niyo na rin kung itong mga taong gustong ibagsak ang ating presidente dahil gusto nilang iluklok ang kanilang manok bilang presidente ng Pilipinas, ano kaya ang magiging sagot nila sa mga katanungang ito? At hindi lang po yan. Sa dinamina ng mga talumpati ng ating Presidente Bongbong Marcos sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo kung saan siya ay umani ng tagumpay at pinalakpakan dahil sa kanyang mga speeches, magagawa ba yan ng iba kung sakaling sila ang nakaupo bilang presidente? Kaya magpasalamat po tayo. Kahit na marami ang tumutuligsa at gustong ibagsak ang ating presidente, hindi po sila magtatagumpay. Kaya dapat po tayo magpasalamat sa Panginoon Diyos na ibinigay niya sa atin si President Bongbong Marcos para pamunuan ang muling pagbangon ng Pilipinas. Kaya nga kung iisipin natin sa darating na 2028 elections, sino po ba sa tingin ninyo ang maaaring pumalit kay President Bongbong Marcos na kayang gawin ang mga ginagawa ni Pbbm ngayon? Na kayang sumagot sa mga ganitong klaseng interviews at hindi lang puro no comment ang isasagot? Na kayang manghikayat ng mga investors sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo? So kailangan po natin ipagpatuloy ang ating pagprotekta at pagsuporta sa ating Pangulong President Bongbong Marcos sa gitna ng mga maraming gustong ibagsak siya at ang kanyang administrasyon. Kaya ang ating pong panalangin ng pasasalamat sa ating Panginoon Diyos, salamat po Diyos ko sa pagbigay niyo sa amin kay President Bongbong Marcos. Kayo po, ano ang masasabi ninyo? Comment lang po down below at magkita-kita po ulit tayo sa susunod na Usapang Tito Manny. Diyos ti Agnina, peace.